Hey folks, it's Trina here, Executive and Leadership Coach for women in senior leadership positions who work for mission-driven organizations and companies. And today we're talking about why leaders feel restless even when they're tired. And this is I've been talking about the types of rest, and this is something that is really important if you're dealing with depletion, exhaustion, on the brink of burnout, that feeling of restlessness when you really are very tired, where you want to nap, but you really can't. Your mind's moving 1,000 miles an hour, whatever it is. And so I want to talk about two types of rest today. And one is physical rest, and the second one is spiritual rest. And these are, there's part of physical rest that we talk about, but there's another piece of it that's not so common. And then spiritual rest is something that we don't really talk about a lot. And so I'm talking about these forms of rest because oftentimes when you go on vacation or you take a day off, mental health day, or you've been sick for a few days or whatever it is, and then you come back to work and you feel like you haven't had any time off. And so that restless feeling is, there's different ways that you need rest. And when you don't give yourself that and you just focus on this one area, like sleep, for example, you don't always get the benefits of a real, true restorative rest and the things that you need. So the first part, as I mentioned, physical rest. So really good sleep is so important. Sleeping, napping, taking breaks, all of those things are really key. And one of the things that's important about depletion and exhaustion is how the stress of it all impacts your health and wellness. And so it can be everything from just having issues with sleeping and falling asleep and insomnia to more serious illnesses and things that can develop in the body. And I know I've had my own struggles when I was dealing with burnout around physical ailments, and I've had clients who have dealt with more serious issues where they've been hospitalized due to stress and burnout and depletion and exhaustion. And so that's not the place that you want to get to, and that's why this is so important. So again, good sleep, good nap, but the other piece of physical rest is restorative physical rest. And that has to do with things like taking walks, maybe massage, anything that feels restorative. For me, it's dance. I love to dance. There's certain music that I love. I love Afrobeat. I'm feeling Beyonce's Renaissance album right now. So these are the kinds of, this is the kind of music, among other things, that I listen to that makes me feel tapped in and restored. For some people, it might be yoga. And I would say it's not necessarily anything that's sort of like power yoga or anything like that. Things that feel restorative, things that make you feel, maybe it's stretching or a good massage, something like that really gets into the body and makes you feel good and makes you feel nourished and replenished. Okay. The second type of rest that I talked about is spiritual rest. Now, this is a very big topic, and so I'm just going to scratch the surface here. But spiritual rest is really about that feeling of belonging and connectedness. And so a lot of times when you're feeling burnt out, exhausted, depleted, that's one of the first things to go for many people. Even if you are a person of faith, you belong to a church or a temple or a mosque or something like that, or even if you have a regular meditation practice, it can be oftentimes the first thing to go. But the important thing about spiritual rest is, again, that need for belonging, that need for connectedness, and not just connectedness to yourself. For some people, having that connectedness to God or higher power or spirit or whatever you call it. And if that's not your cup of tea, and it really can be just that connectedness to other people and having that in-depth belongingness, feeling like, okay, I'm not here by myself, and taking the time to really make those connections and spend time in that connectedness. And that can look like prayer. That can look like quiet time and journaling and meditation. That can look like going to church. That can look like, maybe just having brunch with some close friends. Whatever it is, that connectedness and belongingness that makes you feel like you're a part of a whole is something that will really benefit you. So again, we talked about physical rest, things like sleeping and napping, and also that restorative physical rest, things like massage and dance and slow moving yoga, things like that. And also spiritual rest, which is really about belonging and connectedness. So if this is something that resonated with you, please let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this and how what your experience has been with physical rest and or spiritual rest. So feel free to leave a comment below this video and let me know your experience. I'd love to hear from you and connect. That's all for today. Take good care, and I'll talk to you soon.